Hello. Good evening, all. Arti madam, shall I start?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I welcome all of you, all the audience, on behalf of Internal Audit Standard Boards (ICAI), and this is webinar series 4 on technology-enabled internal audits, and we have with us today our chairman of the Internal Audit Standard Board (ICAI), CA Chandrasekhar Chitale sir, with us. I welcome him, sir.
Good evening.
On
Welcome.
behalf of the entire team of organizers and on behalf of audience as well. Initially, we have with us also CA Milind Limaye, who is the faculty for the webinar. Sir, welcome to you. And now I request Chitale sir to say a few words and guide us for this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Amod, and welcome, Milind. And I also welcome and say good evening to all the viewers. It's indeed a pleasure to have this very important session, which is technology-based internal audit. Friends, whatever be the field, be it engineering, be it medicine, be it accounting, everywhere, whenever anybody talks in informal circles, maybe in formal meetings, one word comes in on here is AI, artificial intelligence. The machine is driving various fields. Internal audit is no exception. Therefore, we thought that on this important aspect, Milind is an expert. He has several years experience, several decades experience in conducting internal audits, not only in India, outside India as well. So no better faculty we could have had than Milind. So welcome, Milind, and thank you for agreeing to contribute.
Thank you very much.
Friends, the Internal Audit Standards Board, as you are aware, is a standard setter for internal audit. So we already have announced 22 standards, 16 are in pipeline, but we are trying to consolidate those standards, maybe weed out standards for quality separately, and then standard for operating and reporting. So maybe 15, 20 standards would be for operating reporting, maybe a couple of standards for quality and internal audit. So that work is on. If anybody is interested in contributing, you can send mail to the board at iasb@icai.in. So maybe we can take help of your resources and knowledge and experience. The other aspect is about concurrent and internal audit of banks. So for that also we have background material. For quite some years it was not revised, so that revision process is also on. So if anybody is interested in joining that revision process, they are also welcome. Then second segment is knowledge dissemination and updation. So these seminars, courses, webinars, those are being engaged by IASB. And thirdly, once the standards are in place, we are also going to meet the regulator and inform them about the capabilities of chartered accountants in the area of internal audit, concurrent audit, management audit, and maybe special audit. That also we will think of. One more concept has come to our mind is about the audit of internal audit department, because in several large and medium companies, even in case of banks, the internal audit is done in-house by the staff. Maybe in some cases it may be outsourced also, but in any case, whatever internal audit has been functioned, whether it has appropriately functioned or not, that quality review is required. And therefore, we are going to start one different service for internal auditors, and that is the review of internal audit department. Maybe once in a 3 years, 4 years, whatever internal audits have taken place, they can be subjected to review, and those review experts also we will have some course, and those experts will come and review. You can engage them. So external chartered accountants can take the assignments as reviewers. So this particular aspect is under deliberation with the board. So if you have any views, maybe you can inform those views. So with this opening remarks, I'm very happy that a person who has knowledge in the field of internal audit and who has adequate experience, and also he is very well versed with the technology, who would be revealing the secrets of his service and experience, maybe of 2 decades in a couple of hours. So welcome, Milind. Over to you, Amod.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your opening remarks. The topic for the discussion is technology-enabled internal audits. Before we start with the topic itself, let us discuss the basic principles of internal audit. Internal audit, as defined in internal audit standards, internal audit provides independent assurance on the effectiveness of internal controls and risk management process to enhance governance and achieve organizational goals. So before we start the session, I would like to draw our attention to three aspects of internal audit, that is fairness, accountability, and transparency. First, fairness. In my view, the entire team or the internal auditor must be thoroughly professional, having sound knowledge of the subject, and he should be fair in all his dealings while conducting the internal audit. The second, accountability. Yes, internal auditor is accountable to the appointing authority. Sometimes law requires internal auditor to report to external authorities as well. Internal auditor may be held accountable for improving the control environment, reducing risk rating, or improving compliance level. So, internal auditor is always accountable for the specific tasks or goals given. The last one, third point, transparency. The internal auditor, the external auditors, and other stakeholders rely on the work or the report submitted by the internal auditors. So, the reports, the level of reporting, the transparency is paramount in internal audit. The fearless reporting in the internal audit, he bring out some lacunas in the internal controls or systems, which is very important for the others who conduct the external audits and the other stakeholders. So ultimately, the internal auditor's role is in risk management assessment and in assessing the effectiveness of the internal controls. So having said this and having this background, we are going to discuss the role of technology in internal audit. That is, the session is technology enabled internal audit. All of us know that the technology has changed the way we live, the way we do business, the way we record the transactions, the way we store the data, the way we report the data. So this requires us professionals to adapt to the latest technology, not only for the accounting, but also for the audits, internal audits. It is very important for all of us to adapt ourselves to the ways like machine learning, AI tools for the conducting various audit tasks. We have to understand, we have to learn the new technology, the new softwares, the way of mining data and everything, so that we can do our job efficiently. Today, so I'm very fortunate, we are fortunate to have with us CA Milind Limay sir to deliver the session on the topic. I will briefly introduce him to the audience. He is a sir, welcome. I once again welcome you, Limay sir. Limay sir is a senior partner in Kirtane and Pandit Chartered Accountants. He is heading the internal audit of the department of the firm. Sir has more than 30 plus years experience in audit and assurance. Sir is expert in forensic audits, risk advisory, services, operational and management audits. Sir has presented many papers on internal and management audits at various seminars and conferences organized by the professional bodies. So, with this introduction, I request Milind sir to take the charge of the session and guide us. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I thank ISB for inviting me to share my views on this topic with all of you. I also thank CV Chitale sir for inviting me to deliver this lecture. And thanks CA Amod for setting up the tone. And really, it helped me in starting my session, because once the moderator sets up the tone, it is easier for the listeners or the viewers to get aligned with the topic. So thank you, everybody. Let me share my screen, my small presentation for all of you. Is it visible, Amod? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So today we are talking about technology-enabled internal audits, or in other words, we can say that how the tech is an enabler for the evolution of internal audits in this digital era. Typically, when we are saying that we are transitioning from compliance to intelligence. Uh, to understand this particular paraphernalia of technology-enabled internal audits, we need to understand certain historical events or the history, how the things have evolved. So the concept of auditing dates back to times when resource utilization entrusted with a third person and was required to be evaluated by an independent assessor. So, well, there cannot be a date or a period which we can say that when exactly the audit must have started. But if I depend on whatever books I have read all these years, it has the references even in the Kautilya Arthashastra by Chanakya. So we can say that since the Maurya eras, which was in BCs, okay, 250 or 300-year BCs, there was a reference for audit where someone was required to check the trustworthiness of the work done by a third person. This transformation mirrors the evolution of industry, technology, and regulatory expectations. Moreover, the current audit scenario, or the word internal audit per se, we can say that it has evolved maybe after industrial revolution in mid 19th century in the Europe, and in India post independence. So even if that is true and correct, in, let us say, if we go by 1854, when it is considered to be the start of industrial revolution in Europe, of course, no computers, no machines were there, so everything was manual, and manual ledgers were used for checks and accountabilities, and auditors were supposed to check everything which was written in different kinds of day books and ledgers and journals and everything, and of course other records. Post independence, when India started growing in a larger scale on its industry, as well as the complexity grew, audit was expanded in its scope. 1991 till 1991, it went on that typical manual books of accounts and 100% vouching. Of course, we will discuss this features on the later slides. But 1991, when the Indian economy got opened to the world, and we normally call it as a globalization. Many of the millennials or Gen Zs who are participating in this webinar not even born. But globalization brought so many factors in every respect. Let it be technology, let it be science, let it be other aspects, and of course, it also piggybacked the auditing technology. I am using the word auditing technology. How and why we will discuss in the next slides. But the auditing technology also came to India. My contemporaries, or even my seniors like Chitale sir, who have completed our articleship in manual era, where we used to churn out 500 pages ledgers weighing around 15-20 kgs. And by the time we started practice, the computers were already in the Indian markets, and our practice started really on the computers rather than the manual things. And that was a big transition which our generation has seen. But since then, when I'm seeing that the transition my generation has seen, since then, every 5 years, every 3 years, every 2 years, the technology is changing so fast that new things are coming up. And as auditors, when we are playing a very pivotal role, typically as internal auditors, internal auditors now, okay, traditionally, this word is there as internal audits. Moreover, nowadays, the big companies, the tech-enabled companies, they are looking at it as a risk advisory service rather than auditing. We'll discuss that once again. I'm just introducing what all I'm going to cover in this session. So by 2025, when we are here today, AI, RPA, that is robotic process automation and analytics, which have enabled real-time, predictive, and embedded audit functions. It has changed the complete paraphernalia of the internal audit itself and even the reporting. So to understand all this, let us first understand how this internal audit has evolved along with IA 4, Industry 4.0. You must have heard about it. So there are 4 generations of industry transformation, and alongside the internal audit has also transformed from IA 1.0 to IA 4.0. So what was IA 1.0? Well, manual audit tools, I am saying, but when I am saying audit tools, those were just calculators and pencils or the pens, green colored or red colored. That's all. Otherwise, there were no tools which any auditor was carrying with him. It was purely compliance focused and only to support the statutory auditors in forming their opinion. Many a times, the new generation will not even understand why and how it happened. But generally, the CFO or the MD, they used to ask the statutory auditors that how much sample size you are going to cover. So if they say we are covering 20% as sample size, they used to give remaining 80% for internal audit. And what we used to do, it's only vouching completely in isolation, check every single transaction in isolation, what has happened before, what is happening afterwards, no clue to it. So it was no business understanding, no process understanding, no process flow was in front of us. And we used to check more or less the financial accuracy of these transactions. And of course, the accounting correctness, whether the entry has been passed correctly or not, that's all. Whether the approvals are there or not, halas. So it was purely compliance focused and assisting to the statutory auditors. That was the only and only function of an internal audit. As I said, 1991, when India opened its economy to the world, and with all other technologies and so many good and bad things, even the auditing technologies came to India. The risk-based or the process-oriented internal audit, to which we call as IA 2.0, came to our country. Now here, the audit tools, okay, even those days, the computers were in its primitive stage. Not much can be done with the help of computers. People were learning how to even start the computer and do some operations here and there. But the primarily audit focused changed from this transaction-based audit to process-based audit. And then we were talking about the preventive controls and GRC, that is General Risk Control Focus. It was process-centric proactive audit. So if you take one single transaction of sale, it used to start right from the sales order received from your customer, and then how you supplied the material, how the inventory moved, whether the material was delivered on time, whether the customer has properly accepted it, and then whether the money has been received on time or not. So entire transaction, end-to-end transaction was kept at the epicenter of this audit. And of course, the entire process was tested for its robustness. Instead of correctness of the accounting entries only, the robustness and the correctness of the entire process was at the helm of these audits. As such, the auditors were required to be very proactive because the suggestions were not fault findings. The suggestions or the audit observations would be in a manner of process improvement suggestions. So those were adoption of, and that of course, when you are giving some suggestions to the client or the company to which you are doing the internal audit, understanding their enterprise risk was very much important, because you cannot copy paste the suggestions. Okay, observations can be safe. Okay, for example, there is some issue in the inventory, let us say non-moving or slow-moving inventory has piled up, right? But from industry to industry, from company to company, the enterprise risk would be different, and so would be your suggestion to mitigate such observations which you have come out. Over a period of time, typically the turn of the century, when more and more technology-driven manufacturing processes and industrial generation is evolved to Industry 3.0. And then so many computer-aided tools were used for all sorts of manufacturing and procurement and everything. You might have heard that all the big OEMs of vehicles, they are actually controlling the suppliers and the dealers of them. So they have all the softwares installed at these locations with their suppliers for procurement purposes, and for sales purposes, it is with dealers. So sitting in company, the sales team can find out that which model is being sold in which part of the country, whether they have sufficient stock. If not, they will initiate their supply chain management and ensure that the vehicles reach that particular location right on time, etc., etc. So it was a full population testing, which was covering a larger paraphernalia, and for which the dashboards were required. Now, this cannot happen post facto. If a sales team of, let us say, Tata Motors need to ensure that the cars of their company are available with, let us say, dealer in West Bengal, it cannot be post facto. They have to have the dashboards in front of them, the alerts coming to them right on time, and then naturally that will be insight driven decisions. So the dashboards are giving appropriate information, real time information, and whatever analysis or those dashboard are telling the sales team, accordingly they are planning their actions so as to cater to the requirements of their customers. With this, we are now awaiting, it is just round the corner, anytime it will knock our doors, is IA 4.0. Already we are hearing a lot about these things. So this is artificial intelligence. Now, people say that artificial intelligence can prevail human intelligence in due course. Some people say that human intelligence is indispensable. Whatever AI will do, it will be only because of HI, that is human intelligence and all. Well, we have to wait and see that how far it affects all of us in every single part, every single minute of our life. But well, when it comes to IA 4.0, it will be AI primarily, then RPAs, once again, that is robotic process automations, IoTs, Internet of Things, Internet of Services, real-time monitoring, etc., etc. So embedded intelligence across the system, coming with blockchain and maybe cryptocurrency. We have to keep our fingers crossed about the cryptocurrency and embedded intelligence. Now, you must have seen, you must have observed, if you are talking to your friend or someone in your house that, if I'm talking to my friend and I say that, oh wow, what a nice t-shirt you are wearing, where from you have got. My mobile is in my pockets, right? I'm not talking to anybody on the mobile. Everything is okay. But by the time I reach home and then I open my mobile for something, maybe it is Facebook or something else, I start getting advertisements for t-shirts. To that extent, the technology is now entering in your life. It is per maybe I don't know whether the word is right or wrong, but it is encroaching your life. It is encroaching on your life that okay, I like somebody's t-shirt, but not necessarily I want it, but the advertisements start pouring and then they make me feel like oh, I should also buy one. And that is the level of this intelligence. This technology in my cell phone captures the keywords. Those keywords are processed somewhere, and the information is passed on to the manufacturers that okay, this person might be interested in buying t-shirts, so start sending your advertisements. Okay, even those people, they are not doing it or initiating it, it also gets triggered automatically. That is the technology we are already experiencing. And with that, when this predictive or tech enabled technology is already there in our lives, even the internal audit need to happen around that. On earlier slides, when we were discussing about various generations of IA, you will notice that it has changed its approach from reactive to proactive. So 1.0, many of you might not have even experienced this, but sometimes, even today, sometimes from some organizations, we still get requirement that we want 100% vouching to be done. And I really need to spend time with them and to make them understand that how this is a old story, it is no more required or it is of no more use, and how we should move to process-based internal audit, at least to IA 2.0. Now, believe me, IA 3.0 and 4.0 per se, they are the offshoots of 2.0. So in any case, this risk-based or process-based internal audit is going to remain as the crux. 3.0 and 4.0, they are the improvisations of IA 2.0. So instead of 3.0 or 4.0, one can call it as 2.1 or 2.2, still good enough. But IA 2.0 in any case is going to remain because finally it is a process oriented, risk integrated approach, which has a very proactive approach or a positive kind of participation from the internal auditors and comes with a preventive control suggestions rather than detective controls and fingering to someone that someone has not done it correctly, etc., etc. So no post facto things, real time analysis, process based analysis. And that is what on the right hand side, if you see, transition to proactive compliance is a cycle. So develop a proactive strategy, implement the strategy, evaluate the effectiveness, and reflect on the past compliance. So you have to be into it along with your client company, alongside their CXOs, to understand the nitty-gritties of their businesses. And okay, in between, let me be clear, if I am going too much in details, you can pass on your questions to the moderator, CA Amod, and definitely I will ensure to answer all the questions at the end of this session. So coming back, this transition to proactive compliance is a cycle. So developing a proactive strategy or the audit planning itself while talking to CXOs, business understanding, then implement those strategies through your observations and with the help of the CXOs or the process owners. Down the line, after a few months, evaluate the effectiveness because you need some results or some data to be produced by the system based on your suggestions. And of course, reflect on the past compliances, that whether it is suiting what you had suggested, whether it is mitigating the risk which you have pointed out, and it goes on and on and on. There are so many other external or internal factors which keep on affecting these suggestions. So every time something new comes up, whether the company adopts a new technology, whether the company develops a new product, whether the company uh, invents something with new raw material coming in, or there are external factors like government policies or some changes at the customer end, whatever. Everything is changing, and that's why this fine tuning or this circle keeps going on and on, that develop this proactive strategy, implement the strategies, evaluate the effectiveness, and of course reflect on the past compliances. When comes to internal audit 3.0, all of you must have heard that data is oil. For internal auditors, data is the new audit oil. There are two factors. One, understanding the analogy, that is, data is like a crude oil, must be purposefully extracted, refined, and distributed. So, crude oil, it is extracted from the wells somewhere in the Middle East. They are purposefully extracted. It is not that you are just extracting some water out of the normal well and it is wasted. It is a very precious thing. So, purposefully extracted, that cannot be used as it is in any vehicles or generator sets or whatever, wherever we need petrol or diesel or aviation fuel, whatever. Crude oil cannot be used. So it needs to be refined and then distributed to the appropriate customers or the users. So the structured data collection to ensure the reliability and audit relevance is very much important. For this, understanding of the company business, understanding of the system. When I say system, it will be the ERP or any other tools which are used, which are either integrated or interfaced with the main ERP of the business. Structured data collection to form the opinion, and that to a reliable opinion, is very much necessary. Once this data is structurally collected, analysis of this raw data into actionable intelligence for decision making. So you need to apply different parameters. Now, when we are saying that uh, audit is getting technologically advanced, that doesn't only mean that we are working in the old style, but in the new era of technology. Even as auditors, we need to improve ourselves in technology by using different audit tools, analytical tools, etc. So these analytical tools allow you to give various parameters and analyze this data and throw out the exceptions. Uh, when you have this actionable data or intelligently analyzed, it definitely helps in decision making. Let me give a very small example. A client of us, my firm, they have got 3 plants in India manufacturing the identical material. Now, if it is identical material which is being manufactured, why 3 plants? Because theirs is a consumable kind of material and it is easier for them to distribute it across the country. When they have got 3 different plants, it becomes cost effective for their customers, etc., etc. Now, there is a raw material which contributes almost 70% of the total raw material cost. One single raw material contributes 70%. The company had a policy of decentralized purchases with 3 suppliers being given share of business. I presume all of you know share of business, where the 100% procurement is divided in 3 suppliers depending on their quality of the material, the lead time, etc., etc. So many parameters are there. I won't get into it, but 3 suppliers were to be chosen. Share of business was given. Everything was okay. L1, L2, L3, they were awarded the contracts or the share of business as per their other capabilities. And everything was within order. There was no per se audit observation uh, when it comes to this procurement of raw material. Now, when we had gathered or we had past data of more than 5 or 7 years, other day a team was just analyzing this raw data in a different perspective, and we realized that the company now has 9 suppliers with 9 different rates, and the rate difference from the lowest to highest was as high as 42%. Okay. Then we analyzed further details of those data, and finally we suggested the company that, okay, let the purchases be decentralized. No harm, because it helps you in different other controls. So we will not touch that particular part. But why not, out of 9, select only 3 or 4, negotiate the rates with them, and then those agreed rates can be used by your 3 plants for giving the share of business, alongside only not only the price, but the time lag and etc. Lead time for supplies, so many things. The company agreed for that. They shortlisted only 4, negotiated the rates with them. Now it is a blend of our new suggestion which help them in decision making, and they are saving crores of rupees every quarter because of this suggestion. That is the importance of analysis, or analyzing or converting the raw data into actionable intelligence. The dashboards will provide real-time visibility across functions and process. So now the ERPs are helping the companies to develop the dashboards. This particular suggestion was made part of the dashboard for the procurement team, and now they are analyzing that how the rates are moving. They are controlling the rates, and of course they are controlling the cost and maximizing their profits. This also enhances the fraud detection, trend recognition, and operational foresight, because churning the data has become very easy. Churning the data has become very easy. There are softwares or audit tools available which can churn the data as big as, let us say, 5 lakhs line items in Excel in 3 to 5 seconds. To that extent, it has become easier. And that's why identifying the fraud trends has become easier. Of course, we need to apply, as in line number 3, what we are saying, that you have to apply the actionable intelligence. That is important, but it really helps. And of course, public data and technology tools like web crawlers or APIs, that is application programming interfaces, they enhance the audit scope. The part 2 is leveraging data in internal audit. For this purpose, we have to define a very clear audit objective to guide purposeful data extraction. So as I said in line number 1, data is like crude oil, must be purposefully extracted. Same thing I am repeating here, that we need to have very clear audit objectives whereby we can extract a purposeful data. We can use advanced analytics to uncover hidden insights. Once again, anomaly detection or clustering, which comes only by applying various parameters which are available, or the audit tools can allow you to apply various parameters, and they can give various reports out of the same data by applying various combinations of the parameters. Integrate data from multiple systems for a unified audit view. So, as I said, in big companies, when there is a system to monitor the supply chain for procurement, there is another system which is monitoring the dealers across the globe, and of course, the main company for which some ERP is implemented. And all these 3 systems or 3 technologies, they talk to each other. So whenever the customer team, they trigger some kind of supply to a particular dealer, automatically the invoicing and everything is generated. The note goes to the stores. it goes to the logistics team that you have to carry so many vehicles from this location to that location, etc. So these kind of things are based on integration of data from multiple systems for a company's use. Of course, they help us in our audit view as well. Now, one may ask that how it is going to help an auditor to take a particular stand. Now, well, company officers, they keep on doing same thing every day 10 times. So at times, too much of repetition of something generally brings some kind of lethargy, or you tend to forget or skip something for which a little bit of longer view, or sometimes we call it as a bird's eye view, need to be taken. In a particular case, uh, we can identify, or the auditors have identified, that even when this dealer based system was in place, the procurement was in place, and everything was in order, every time the company was sending the vehicles from its plant to a particular location. At the same time, the company was not considering, or the team was not considering, that whether there is any idle stock lying nearby. For example, let us take example of Tata Motors, and let us take example of, say, Tata Punch, which is very popular, or Tata Nexon. It was selling like a hotcake somewhere in Chennai. At the same time, it was not getting sold that fast somewhere in Madurai or Coimbatore. Now, when the orders from Chennai dealers were flowing to Pune team that please supply more and more Nexons, the Nexons already sent to Madurai or Coimbatore, they were still lying with the dealers. Now here, the auditor suggested that instead of incurring the cost right from sending it to Pune to that location, why not move some of the vehicles which are lying idle with Coimbatore or Madurai dealers? And that saved a lot of cost. So definitely these integrated systems help us in audit, for which, as I said earlier, we need to have complete understanding of the business of that client, and understanding of the systems and how they are working, how they are being used in the day-to-day life by the employees of the company. For doing this, we need to train the audit teams in data storytelling and interpretation. Now, what is data storytelling? It is not that data is telling you some Panchatantra or Hitopadesh, but it gives you the triggers. Like in this, both the earlier examples which I explained, the data was already telling us the story. It was with us that we should hear it properly, interpret it in the right manner, and then convert it into a very useful observation for our client. As such, we need to embed the analytics in audit planning, fieldwork, and of course, in reporting cycles. Once again, this is a small example I always share with my young fraternity friends, that how analysis of data is important. Here, data storytelling, data tells you the story. Now here is a story. This is a sketch of a World War II bomber. This is of British bombers. They had something like 1200. Many of you might have read this or heard this on LinkedIn or any other social media. But just to explain more about the storytelling part of the data, I am taking it here. Give me 5 minutes for that. The red dots. Oh, okay. Out of those 1200s, hardly 25% or 30% could make it back to the base, totally shattered, dilapidated by the German bullets. Somehow they made it and reached back to the base. The scientists or the technical people, they started analyzing, and they created one single aircraft and plotted where all the bullets have been hit. And these were the areas where you see the red dots. are the areas where the bullets were hit, and they started thinking, oh, we need to improve on this particular part. So they started working on, okay, we will just strengthen the wings, we will strengthen the middle part of the fuselage and everything. The data was telling altogether different story. If you watch carefully, there are certain areas like engines or the cockpit part, or that is the front nose part of the aircraft, or the backward part of the fuselage. They don't have any dots. Then someone analyzed or picked it up correctly and said that this data is telling us a different story, that friends, okay, wherever the bullets have hit, those aircrafts, somehow they made it back to the base. But if at all, those who couldn't come back, there is every single possibility that they have got hit on the areas where there is no red dot. And then it changed the whole purpose, the whole viewpoint of looking at this analysis. And then the technical people, they really worked on the areas where there are no red dots, and they could come out with a very improved kind of aircraft which could sustain the bullets of Germans, and eventually they defeated Germans and blah blah. That is what I wanted to highlight. This example is only to highlight how the data tells you the story. Now coming to internal audit 4.0, for which everybody is really curious, including me. For me, curiosity is that whether I would be able to digest this at this stage or not, or how much I need to empower my team so that they further empower me to present my report in the audit committee. And this is IA 4.0, or what we call it as uh, purely based on Industry 4.0. So now when the businesses are embracing Industry 4.0, internal audit, when it has become now an inherent part for decision making and a very proactive decision making process for the CXOs of the company, no more looked at as some kind of fault finders and cost centers to the company. Internal audit must mirror its foundational principles of Industry 4.0 to stay relevant and value focused. So the internal audit 4.0 converges. It's a convergence of audit intelligence as well as next gen technologies. This is where at the beginning, when we were saying or deliberating whether AI will prevail HI, that is human intelligence, or human intelligence will still prevail over the AI. So when we discuss this internal audit convergence of audit intelligence and next gen technologies, the answer will be easier, though it will be complex. It can still be debated, but it will be helpful for us that yes, internal audit 4.0 has to happen alongside Industry 4.0. What are the key principles of uh, Industry 4.0 which we need to adopt in internal audit 4.0? First of all, interoperability. So integration of different audit systems with enterprise platforms, that is ERPs, CRMs, supply chain SCMs, that is supply chain management, for seamless data flow and automated access. So we have to either buy or build the tools which will integrate with the ERPs or the CRMs or the SCMs of our clients, and the data will keep flowing to us all the time. So in due course, we are going to be the auditors 24 by 7. We will discuss that how it is going to change even the reporting parameters or the reporting patterns under this IA 4.0. But in due course, we will be 24 by 7 auditors, and not necessarily that all of us, we are sitting in front of the screens and watching everything. Even our tools will work for us 24 by 7 and keep on giving us the triggers. Virtualization, that is simulation tools and digital twins, which enable scenario-based risk testing and real-time process auditing. So virtualization is creating a virtual environment identical to the real situation. We carry out certain checks and controls in that virtual environment or the simulated environment, and the results are then tested and applied to the real time. So we don't touch the real time data, or we don't hamper the operation of the real time processes, but we create a virtual world. We work in that, apply the tests, fine tune, and then apply to the real time process. So that will keep on giving us the real time results of whatever is happening. Then comes decentralization. So empowering distributed teams with local data and analytics, reducing dependency on the centralized controls. So in line one, when we are talking of ERP, CRM, SCM, here the local or distance, etc., doesn't mean by geographical or physical location. It can be a virtual location. So ERP team is a different team, CRM team can be a different team, supply chain management team can be a different team. And when we empower these distributed teams with only their respective data for analytics, it will reduce the dependency on the centralized controls, that is primarily ERPs. Real-time capability, so continuous monitoring dashboards as that we discussed earlier, that how these dashboards are now helping the supply chain team of our client to monitor the rates of their key raw material. Exception triggers. This brings us to first one, interoperability. When we were talking of that seamless data flow and automated access and real-time process auditing. So if there are exceptions, the team leader or the team will get the triggers maybe on their cell phones through some app, that, well, there is some issue with this particular process. Please check it, get it sorted out. And that, once again, when these are the instant audit alerts for proactive interventions, now the
Recording in
dies
progress.
through which a press hits that die on that heated billet with a big force, and then that billet is converted into some shape. The die has got some life of its sharpness. As you go on and on and on hitting it one after other, it starts losing its sharpness, and then the thickness of the walls of the product starts increasing. Now, of course, it cannot be 100% identical every time. It changes, which is called as tolerance limit. So till the time it is in tolerance limit, no issues. But if the die loses the sharpness and the thickness of the walls of the product converted from that bullet after forging it hard, if that changes beyond a particular limit, that thickness increases beyond a particular limit, the machining cost to bring it in order goes up, and that increases the overall COGS, that is cost of goods sold, through, of course, increasing manufacturing cost. And then these dies are required to be changed or resharpened after particular number of hits, as they call it in technical terms. Now, when the operations are going 24/7, and if maybe in the third shift this die loses starts losing sharpness, by the time someone again comes, some decision makers come to the plant by 9 o'clock, already there will be 10,000 products which have already come out with thicker walls, increasing it to additional machining cost, etc. Now, if this operation or this is triggered through Industry 4.0 triggers this, and if IA 4.0 is sitting in its place, the trigger can be given to the plant immediately. Immediately, without wasting time, they can either change the die or resharpen it. And finally, that helps in controlling the cost of the company. That is the importance of this real-time capability of continuous monitoring of internal audit 4.0. Then comes service orientation. So custom audit insights aligned to stakeholder expectations. Once again, all these we have already covered, that all the CXOs, CFOs, CEOs, COs, compliance heads, they will be interested in rectifying anything and everything right on time instead of waiting for some post facto analysis and thereby losing a lot of opportunities. And modularity, that is plug and play audit modules built around these processes, or risk class for scalable deployment, which will generate the triggers for the auditors for real-time help of their clients. So all these are the key principles which are going to be important parameters or the factors around internal audit 4.0. Of course, this is evolving across the globe. Nobody will say that we are industry 4.0 savvy or it is already there with us. Everybody is improving. We are testing a lot of softwares. The companies are coming out with their own audit softwares, which are the access is being given to the internal auditors for their reviews, etc. So it is evolving, but it is very much necessary for all of us, the fraternity friends, that we keep our eyes open, be there, technology enriched, awareness of all these things which are happening in the industry. And then when the time comes, we are capable of carrying out this kind of real-time audits for our clients. Let me quickly take you through some of the components which are part of internal audit 4.0. So the first are digital platforms, platforms required for data collection and visualization. Primarily these days, these are the various audit tools. Either people are getting it done for themselves, or there are some off-the-shelf tools available which can be customized for our purposes. Real-time solutions, that is scalable solutions for business complexity, as we discussed in earlier example of a forging company, that how the real-time solutions help your client company to take care of the exceptions. Continuous analysis, so ongoing analysis of structured and unstructured data. So data will keep flowing through the interface given to our software sitting in or sitting next to the system of our client, whereby the data will keep flowing and the teams will keep on analyzing by creating certain dashboards at our end also. Automation tools for faster reconciliations and testing. Now, when we say that continuous analysis is required, there is no need for us to employ someone in 3 shifts and make him sit in front of the screen. The same can be automated, whereby wherever we are in the world, the triggers can be sent through some app or some other facility, whereby the same can be conveyed to our clients. Predictive analytics, this is very much important, which might run parallel to all these activities which are listed on the left-hand side, that even if these things are happening real time, the team can keep on going in a virtual mode or the simulator mode, carry on certain tests in that virtual mode and see whether any new controls are required, whether the current controls are showing in due course there will be failures because of certain things. And that is where this predictive analytics, which will help us trigger some of the observations to our clients that even something happens, we are there before it happens and tell our client that yes, this might happen. Please check technically and take care of it. Of course, the dashboards will keep on giving on-demand executive level insights. So whatever we are seeing as auditors, the CXOs can also look at it. AI and machine learning, once again, very much important. So tools for anomaly detection and classification. If AI can run a business, another AI can definitely audit it. Same. If a person can run a company and we as auditors can audit it, same with the intelligence. See, finally it is intelligence. Let it be artificial or human, who will prevail and all, let us keep it aside. But if there is industry intelligence, there will be audit intelligence. But we as auditors, we will have to be well versed with this new technology of AI and machine learning. And of course, ERP integration is the most important thing, where the seamless data flows in the ERP system through various interface systems or softwares. Everything is gathered and collated appropriately to give out the appropriate financial results. Now, finally, someone will ask that how we will have to do it. So Mr. Lima, you are senior man, though I am not so senior, but well, Chitale sir and Amod, they have called me senior, so I will take it just because I have spent some number of years in this particular advisory services domain. We will have to re-engineer. And while saying we, it is all of us, you, me, everybody who is on this call and everybody who is not on this call. We will have to do away from manual sampling and random checks. Sampling, there are auditing standards talking about sampling, but when everything is machine based, now sampling is almost getting vanished. There are no random checks. It is churning of 100% data every time. And only the exceptions which are thrown out need to be checked. Maybe you can consider them as a sample, but once again, those exceptions are to be checked 100% because all exceptions may not be the same. Anything, if you are applying 7 parameters, there could be 7 different reasons for those exceptions, and you will have to check anything and everything out of those 7. And that will be your sample. But there were no random sample based on some algorithms or log tables, etc. Everything is now gone. We have to accept that. Post facto issue identification is going away. There cannot be audit checks at the end of the quarter and then report is being given to the audit committee, and then audit committee informs it to the board, and then board instructs to the CEO to make necessary changes. All gone. It has to be real time. Spreadsheet based documentation, eventually, this is what you can say, all the needs have come together and they have satisfied the needs of each other. So generally, any ERP or any CRM or any supply chain management SCM system, they will have the reports being thrown out in spreadsheet based format, which is easier for us to analyze. The audit tools which I was referring earlier, even those have spreadsheet based analytical facilities. So it is my need is your facility and your facility is my need, kind of give and take. So all these spreadsheet based documentations which were earlier being created by us, those will be created automatically and we will have to give away with those. Checklist based approach, no more checklist because everything is getting checked on real time. Periodic cycles, well, it relates same to post facto issue identification. So there are no periodic audit cycles covering different areas in each audit cycle. All areas will be going on parallelly, real time. Operating in isolation from business, As I said, once again, it relates to post facto issue identification, so no more. And compliance focused, different compliances, legal compliances, stakeholders compliances. I won't go into the nitty-gritties of which kind of compliances, but it is no more compliance focused. It is more of a decision driven process. So if you see on the right hand side, there will be RPA driven full population testing, right? Real-time exception and tracking alerts will be given by the softwares, interactive dashboards and audit platforms which keep on talking to each other every single minute. Insight-driven analytics first mindset. So instead of some fault finding, it will be just kind of a caution that, oh, we are going out of focus somewhere, please come back. Continuous embedded audit monitoring. So there will be 10 observations going throughout the day to some CXO. It will not be a one single report, but only the flashes that some issue in procurement, some issue in inventory movement, some issue in, let us say, your dealership softwares, some issue related to your FG inventory with dealers. So many things, but it will be going on real time, embedded within the systems and decision process. Sometimes when interfaces are given appropriately, settled appropriately, these triggers will be going to the respective people directly, even without getting auditors involved or required to pass on that trigger further to the respective person. And of course, this is a very value driven and advisory in role, because finally it saves a lot of cost on part of the clients. We have discussed some examples of it in some earlier in this particular session. So finally, what is the ask? The ask is adapt or be left behind. Rather, I would say be get excluded in due course. Adapt or get excluded. We don't want that. Ours is a very small fraternity of intelligent people. We are very less in numbers, in spite of increased percentage of results. We are very small in numbers, and we are the only people who understand the business of our clients and the impact of it on the financials. No other fraternity, no other profession in the world can analyze the impact of something on the financial of the company for which this whole thing is there. Nobody is doing it for charity. Everybody is doing it for profit. And in that case, we are the only people. We should take pride in that we are the only people who understand the business integrities and its impact on the financials. So we have to adapt, and we don't want to get left out or get vanished or excluded in due course of time. So future of internal audits will be one. We need to move from fault finding to value creation. So move beyond postmortems, no post facto analysis, no post facto reporting, no fault finding, nothing, but provide clear cut real time foresights for the better operations of your clients. We need to move away from checklist and go towards intelligence. So checklist, we used to have check 1, check 2, check 3, check 10, check 50. Of course, it was useful in those eras. It is still useful in some cases. So I'm not saying checklists are bad, but implementation of AI or machine learning, application of this intelligent part, that will naturally take you away from the checklist, because all these systems only they will be working for you. What you are required to focus is more on the analytics and process mining for deeper insights. So that again takes me back to the data storytelling example which we shared. That data tells you the story. The data available tells you the story. At the same time, please remember that data not available, or the anti-data as we call it as sometimes. Anti-data is those blank areas on that warplane. The data of bullets hit was available. That was the data. And of course, there were no bullets hit on some parts. That was anti-data. Now, even the anti-data tells you the story, or anti-data is part of the data itself. So deeper insights can be involved. You need to be vigilant and understand what that data is telling you. You should understand that story. And that is going to help you in future internal audits. We have to move away from periodic audits to continuous assurance. Well, when it is going to be value creation based and intelligence based, naturally there won't be any checklist, right? There no checkbox to 1, 2, 3, 4 to be ticked. And that's why we are moving away from periodic audits of different areas. And we leverage more on automation and system integration for giving a continuous assurance. And finally, the fourth is from isolated reviews to strategic partnerships. Internal auditors will be are going to be the partners in the growth of our clients. We are no more watchdogs. We are no more bloodhounds. We are no more fault finders. We are partners in the growth of our clients by doing this strategic partnership of providing right time, real time analytics and triggers, which will help the CXOs in their decision making and risk resilience or risk mitigation. Well, so that was all from my side about this technology-driven internal audits. Now, I'm requesting the moderator to please come up with the questions, if any, and I'll be very happy to answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We have very few questions. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes, very much.
There are I'm just reading out one question, sir.
Yeah.
In the case of operational audit, as a laid down scope in an internal audit assignment, how to align technology tools with that of systems and technologies being used by an organization for its integrated operations.
Can you please repeat? In between, there was some gap.
Okay, I will repeat, sir. In the case of operational audits, as a laid down scope in an internal audit assignment, how to align technology tools with that of systems and technologies being used by an organization for its integrated operations. Now, this is I'm reading out, sir.
Yeah.
You can
Okay,
answer.
I got it. So this really takes us our fellow member who has asked this question. He is referring to IA 2.0, which is happening as part of periodic audits and which is checklist based. See, we cannot install our audit tools in our client system without their permissions, or otherwise even some changes to be made to make our tools compatible with their systems. So it has to be a joint exercise where we have to prove that how necessary it is, how useful it is to interface our audit tool with their systems, whereby our audit tool is allowed to gather the data in the system on real-time basis and throw those triggers. So we cannot do this thing secretly or in abeyance or whatever in silo as such. There will be a very conscious exercise of the lead management as well as the auditors coming together, understanding this paraphernalia, and then putting up the audit tool of the internal auditor, talking to their system. The system is talking to the audit tool, and then only this will be feasible or practically a doable kind of thing. It cannot be done in isolation or in silo or in secrecy. So रात में जाके चुपके से अपना टूल वहां पे इंस्टॉल करके आए, ये होगा नहीं.
Okay. Yes. Sir, there is one more question. The audience, the one participant wants one example each on web crawler and API used in internal audit.
Well, as I said, all these things are still improvising. Right now, even at our end, we are not fully equipped with any kind of web crawlers or APIs being used directly at the client place for carrying out the audit. That is what we were discussing on in the IA 4.0, that how it has to evolve in due course. Even our tech team is evolving all these things. But right now, I'm sorry, I don't have any live example to be quoted here to give talk about these web crawlers or APIs being installed or used.
Okay, sir. So there is one more question. Give one example of virtualization in internal audit.
Virtualization in internal audits, well, virtualization or simulation, as we call it in internal audit. So it is not virtualization in internal audit. It will be virtualization as part of Industry 4.0, where we have to work. And so it is exactly identical situation created. You must have seen the simulators used by the pilots to practice. If I can refer quickly, there was a fantastic movie came out about 7, 8 years back called Sully, which was based on that Hudson River emergency landing of a aircraft, and they used the simulators to create the identical situation the pilot faced in reality, and then they applied some checks, etc. And that, I won't get into the story of that movie, but similar simulations are created keeping or giving all the real-time parameters to a particular software, and then the results are tested. That is the virtualization of internal audit. It is not virtualization of internal audit, it is virtualization of the process at the client's end, in which we have to apply the checks and controls so that the real-time data is not affected. We can adjust the parameters, we can do a lot of R&D with that simulator and see how change in one parameter is affecting others, how it is impacting on other processes, etc. And thereby we can set the tone of our audit tool. And then when we test it on that simulator once again, ensure the completeness, then only we can go to that real data and apply it so that the real-time triggers are sent to our teams. That is virtualization as I'm referring to.
Thank you, sir. So there is one more question, that can you name some AI tools which can be used in internal audits?
As of now, there is no off the shelf. The big fours or big tens, they have developed something in that AI environment. Uh, we work many a times with them, parallelly to them. As we understand, there is no off-the-shelf AI tool which is available as of now, because Industry 4.0 itself is not settled in AI environment. We are talking a lot, but if you look around, how many industries they are also working on AI in AI environment? No, they are still on manual operations. They are still in Industry 2.0 era. So direct application of AI as of now, there are no tools that I can go to market or I can order online and start using it from tomorrow. We have to wait for it.
Okay, sir. Sir, there is one more question. Is IS covered by the scrutiny by NAFRA?
Come again?
Is IS internal audit standards covered by the scrutiny by NAFRA?
No, I don't know. I'm not a person to comment anything about NAFRA.
Okay.
So far, we are, helping statutory auditors to form the opinion, and we are helping the management to improvise their systems. Whatever cognizance internal statutory auditors are taking, they will have to document it, and perhaps that will be referred by NAFRA, not the direct work carried out by internal auditors in due course. This is my personal opinion. Please don't take it as my professional advice or professional opinion.
Yes. Okay, sir. Sir, sir, there is one more question. Can you explain interoperability and real-time capability of AI for once more?
Okay, sure. I'll just take you to that slide once again. I presume that our professional friend is referring to this particular slide, that is interoperability. So integration of audit system with enterprise platforms, that is ERP, CRM, SCM for seamless data flow and automated access. Now let us go back to the example of Tata Motors, which I have given. Tata Motors is just hypothetical example. Normally, so far I am from Pune. Generally, I talk about Tata Motors. I am nowhere related to Tata Motors. Disclaimer. So they have their ERP in place, which integrates all the data for throwing out the financial results finally. There is a CRM. Okay, so that is customer management system. And SCM, that is supply chain management system. Let us talk about this CRM. Now the dealers of Tata Motors, they are spread across the country and they are selling the vehicles produced by Tata Motors every day. Now this particular CRM is talking to the ERP through their CRM team or sales team, that which models are going fast, which models are not being sold so fast, which are very selective models preferred in a particular area. So on one hand, when the models, let us talk about X model, which is selling like a hotcake. When the CRM system gives that data to ERP, ERP goes back and checks what is the production plan. When it checks the production plan, automatically it also checks about the availability of all the required raw material and consumables in place. If the ERP realizes that a certain raw material or certain consumables are falling short of the estimated demand, then it will trigger the alerts for the supply chain to go ahead with the purchase orders or procurement of those parts. So all these three systems, they talk to each other, they monitor each other, they CRM and SCM, they keep on feeding the ERP with appropriate data. ERP further analyzes it and tells, okay, all the required parts are in properly ordered, will be procured in a period, due course of time. So let the production begin. Let there be production of X model of a vehicle, and then the CRM requirement of this particular demand is catered to, and then CRM takes care of the distribution of these things. So it is all interoperability. So CRM, supply chain, and ERP, they all are connected. They are connected automatically. They talk to each other every single second as real time. And then the triggers are generated for the respective teams to take appropriate actions. Hope I am clear.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, with your permission, can I go ahead and ask further questions, sir?
Yes, please. Please.
Okay. So there is a typical question in everybody's mind, especially in terms from the small and medium-sized firms. What is the best implementation strategy or best practices for a traditional firm to tech-based internal audit?
Now, generally, yeah, this is a very interesting topic which someone has started. Many of our fraternity friends, they are catering more to the small and medium or MSME sectors. And the tech part of it, how to integrate that, that can be a question. See, this Industry 4.0 has not yet knocked the doors for the MSMEs as yet, or if they have, to a very limited extent. So once again, coming back to Tata Motors, most of their suppliers, they are from MSME segment, supplying, say, fasteners, nut bolts, some consumables, some parts processed here and there. So on one hand, their supply chain tool is necessarily involved in their premises, on their systems, which tells them that how much material is required by Tata Motors today. So depending on that CRM, which is raising some triggers of change in manufacturing pattern or production plans, the purchase orders are also changed automatically. So today morning, they might ask for part A in 500 numbers. By afternoon, they will say, no, we want only 300 of part A, but now please supply us 400 of part B. To that extent, MSMEs are getting affected if they are tier one or direct suppliers of these OEMs who are already in it to a greater extent. Now, as internal auditors, what problematic issue we need to handle and remaining away from this AI or anything Industry 4.0 being implemented by that MSME. Basically, it's a costly affair, and not all MSMEs will be able to do it in near future of 2 to 3 years. I am 100% sure. But it affects further procurement of your customers or your clients on one hand. It also affects the inventory controls of your customers or your clients. And that is something you need to advise, that how we need to cope up with certain factors. And at times, MSMEs, they have to live with a helpless situation, that basis PO1 in the morning, they manufactured something during the first half of the day, and suddenly that PO1 changed to PO2, and another part was asked, and now this part A is now lying with them. The companies are definitely, I mean, the manufacturing OEMs are also coming with lot of interchangeable parts in order to protect this problem of MSME. Because if they cannot say that, okay, this is your problem, the problem has created because of you. So somebody has to take the ownership of all this. Now, how to mitigate that? So there will, now if you see, there will be a lot of parts which are interchangeable between the various models of a particular company. So sometimes we also feel, I mean, we are surprised that how one particular nut bolt of Tata Nexon can be fitted on Tata Punch. They are designed like that only because to avoid the number of line items in inventory and help MSMEs to cater with this issue, that, okay, even if there is hike in supply of punch and decline in Nexon, supply of parts won't be affected because you are purchasing the same part from you, which is fitted in both the vehicles. So even if there is some pluses minuses at Tata Motors end, MSME supplies are uh, not interrupted, or there won't be any issues. But coming back to the original question, it will take some time to reach MSME, because first of all, though end of implementation will be cost effective, the implementation itself, at least today, is a costly affair and not suitable for MSMEs to go with it right away.
Yes. Sir, there is one more question. Sir, also, what should be our stand in case there are conflicts in opinion with the management, as if they do not agree with our opinion?
Uh, to some extent, we have to live with this situation. Finally, we are there to help them. It is like if the people or some, let us take example of some boys playing cricket in the middle of the road, and some senior tells them that do take care of the vehicles passing by. And if that gang of boys, they ignore it, well, naturally someone is going to hit a two-wheeler or car and break his leg, etc. So our role is just to tell them that, well, these are the triggers, these are the issues, please take care. If someone wants to ignore it, you can take the horse to water, you cannot make him drink it, you know. So that is our role. We cannot run the business of our clients.
Thank you, sir. There is one. I will take only two questions now. Sir, can you tell us few examples of for internal audit trail for service oriented, specifically in IT industry?
I'm not very clear about this question. I'm not sure. If you can ask the concerned person to elaborate it, I will take it again.
Yes, yes.
As of now, it is very unclear.
Yes, okay, sir. I will move ahead with the last question. That is, will audit function be eventually replaced due to AI? Future of internal audit.
That is what I was referring to the last slide, that what is the future of internal audits. For your convenience, let me take it once again. Well, this is the future of internal audit. Whatever we are doing today, it is not going to be there tomorrow. Because whatever we did yesterday, it is not there today. So it's a change. Change is the only permanent thing in this world. So if the industry is changing, we have to change as auditors. And this is what future of internal audits going to be. I may ask the organizers to share this presentation
Yes,
if
yes,
someone
sure.
is interested. And you can refer, you can also reach me on mail. I can try to elaborate it further. So this is the future. So future is definitely going to be challenging. It is going to be a changing future for all of us. We need to change ourselves, our mindsets, everything. But yes, there is future for internal audits, even if the industries are going more towards AI.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I think you have answered almost all the questions, sir.
Through the moderator, Amod, I would like to request everybody that if still the questions are unanswered or people are not satisfied, they can write to me directly. I will try to answer them in detail.
Okay, sir. So finally, sir, we had a wonderful session today, and you talked about the change in approach from reactive to proactive of the internal auditors. Rather than being only reactives, we have to be now proactives. You told us how to train our team in data storytelling and interpretation, which was very nice, sir. You will definitely do it. Sir, today we learned about transition from fault finding to value creation and how internal auditor has to move beyond postmortems and create value for the organization. Sir, I thank you on behalf of all the audience participants and on behalf of ICI internal internal audit board. I also thank CA Aarti Bansal madam, Secretary of Internal Audit Standard Board, Arun Agarwal, and last but not the least, the technical team who arranged all this webinar. With this, I thank all of you for your patient hearing, and I declare that the session is over. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.